What's going on, friends and family? This is My Thoughts Uncut. I'm Terrence Manning. We're going to talk about John Fetterman, who was recently on News Nation Town Hall with Stephen A. Smith and Bill O'Reilly. So, with this, Mr. Fetterman was actually making some sense. He's a Democrat from Pennsylvania, but he's not the typical Democrat. He's more middle left. So let's see what he had to say. Let's see what Stephen A. Smith and Bill O'Reilly had to say in regards of what's going on in this building funding.
Yeah. Two-part question. Number one, when the hell is the shutdown going to end? And number two, who's most culpable for the shutdown taking place to begin with?
With the shutdown. I think right now I'm only one of two Democrats that are voting to keep the government open.
Actually, 3 Democrats have voted yes, just like he has. But yes, I give him credit. He has voted yes.
And now I have chose to do that because I think it's like a core responsibility as a senator to keep our government open. The Democratic Party, my party, the Republican Party, they have different priorities. And that's how democracy, you sort those things out. But you don't hold shutting the government down as a hostage.
Why are you a Democrat, though? And I don't say that being a wise guy. You support Israel, correct?
Yeah, well, okay. I do, and that's been isolating too.
All right,
because
but look, you support Israel, and the progressives don't, generally speaking. You are for a very rigorous defense against Putin in Ukraine, correct? You want to stop him, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I would fully support. In fact, I just on social media encouraged President Trump to provide tomahawks to the Ukrainians.
Okay.
I mean, it's like he is probably the only person in the world that could end this terrible war. And I think, why can't we all agree that
That's true. And another point he made, Trump is the only one that can end the war. Did you think Kamala Harris was capable of ending the war? Do you think Kamala Harris was capable of ending, or at least having the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel? No.
that's
You're not a wild spender. You want to get
No.
the debt under control. So why are you Democrat?
that's
Your party.
Democrats are known for being wild spenders. He's not a wild spender. Bill O'Reilly's right. Why is he a Democrat? He's only a Democrat in name because people don't really like being conservatives nowadays. But let's look at
Is against you on all 3 of those issues.
well, I mean, a lot of the things that maybe I really believe in calling balls and strikes, and I think I want to follow the truths. And
Why aren't you an independent?
That's
then?
fair.
Well, I mean, those are some independent thoughts, but overall, I mean, you have to pick one side, Republican,
Why?
Democrat. That's always been my party. And
Bernie's an
Bill, let me just say, it's like I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted for President Trump, but they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution.
And that's another thing. The difference between us conservatives and Democrats. Republicans, we don't stop talking to our friends or family just because they don't share the same policies and views that we do. We still talk to them. We still engage with them. We still go out with them. We still love them. Democrats, if you're not a Democrat and you even question a policy that they endorse, they cut you off.
Things, and that's part of another thing. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody to Hitler and those things. And now that kinds of extreme rhetoric is going to continue. We're going to be more likely in resulting in extreme kind of outcomes and political violence and doing all these kinds of things like Charlie Kirk. For me, all I could say is like, let people grieve. Give people the space. I'm not going to use that terrible thing and that Pasek assassination to make my argument and try to put out my views. It's like, my God, he's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet. And now people have forgotten. President Trump was in my state, was shot in the head. And if that would have...
They try to take our president out twice.
Could you imagine where our nation would be if he was hit in the same way with Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. And we can agree to disagree on these kinds of things. But right now, shutting down the government, I just can't take it that.
So, what do the Democrats, your contemporaries, say to you?
So what Stephen A. Smith and many people don't understand is there's 100 members in the Senate. 53 currently right now are Republicans, 47 are Democrats. It takes 60 votes to pass this funding bill. The reason why we can't pass this funding bill is because Democrats aren't voting to pass it. You need the extra votes from the Democratic side. Bipartisan. They refuse to do it. They're using it as a weapon. They're using it as leverage because why? They want to spend that money on illegal migrants. That is their reason. That's their sole reason.
When you say that to them?
What do I say to them is like...
No, what do they say to you when you say
what do
that
they say to
them?
me?
Yes.
Yeah, well, parts of my base are angry with me.
No.
Of course.
Primarily,
That's how Democrats
which is really
are.
strange, really strange. Run the numbers. I vote, I think, 90% plus Democrat, but they're angry, and it's like, but I, with my base, very, very angry about me being fully, unapologetically supportive for Israel. And that really pushed that. I've backed Israel through this entire thing. Now, of course, it's heartbreaking in the tragedy in Gaza and what's happened to the innocent Palestinians. Now, for me, I blame Hamas and Iran and Hezbollah and some other people. They'll believe Israel, and I refuse to do that.
Let's get it.
Also, Chuck Schumer, who actually voted to pass the big beautiful bill back in March, is terrified to go against his own party. He does not want AOC taking his spot. Hakeem Jeffries hasn't endorsed Mandani in New York. Why? Because he knows that guy is socialist or communist. So the Democratic Party is just all over the place.
An audience question. Varian, please, where are you from and what is your question for the senator?
Good evening, gentlemen. Great to see you again. Darian Roget from the great state of New Jersey. Drove down just to see you guys. I saw you guys at Westbury in Long Island on the Three Americans tour, thanks to Bill a few months ago. Pleasure to be here. So my question is about the leaderless, rudderless, dilapidated state of the Democratic Party at the moment. And I can say this as a Republican, I'm elated by that, but I also believe we do need two robust political parties in this country, at least. So do you think the Democratic Party will eventually moderate a la Bill Clinton circa 1992 and find a political third way eventually by the time of the 2028 presidential election? Or, on the other hand, do you think they continue down the sort of where the energy of the party is, right? The far left, AOC, Zohran Mamdani-esque trajectory nationally, and which, in my opinion, is doubling down on stupid and on the issues that cost them the 2024 election, and continue, as the august Bill O'Reilly would say, continue being pinheads. So that's my question.
Excellent question, but I want the senator to answer it.
That's a good question. And to answer it, they're not going to adjust. They're going to continuously go for far left. They're terrified of AOC and others. They're not going to change their rhetoric. They're not going to change what they believe in. They're not going to change what they're trying to run for. And they're going to lose.
Do you see any moderation of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party? Do you see it?
The question was for the senator.
Well, I mean...
By the way, Bill, so you know. I know he called you august. But the question was for the senator.
My earpiece isn't working.
Yeah.
Who is this? I don't even know.
If you're thinking about winning the election, and so now that's all going to come down to 7 or 8 states, and that's really that matters. And I would like to remind everybody, because we all know that Trump ran the table all of those kinds of states. And now you can't ever forget, these are the states that are going to determine who's going to be the next administration. And now a lot of the things, the
Swept all
extremism
swing states,
that
baby.
people turned their back in 24, and that's how we kind of came up short. I mean, you know, I campaigned for thousands and thousands of miles across Pennsylvania for Vice President Harris. And it was going to be incredibly difficult. You could just feel the energy there. And people really have connected there at a very fundamental level. And that's what I tried to explain to my party. And I'm trying to explain to the party right now. It's like, this is why we lost. And this is where we need to be.
The reason why they lost is because people now say 80-20. Trump is 80-20. I think it's actually 95-5. These are just common sense policies and things that average Americans would want. And the Democratic side, the far left side, are just way out there with everything. They don't really want to punish criminals. They want mass amount of illegal immigration. They want men and women's sports and women's locker rooms. They continuously push down our throats the alphabet community. They pretty much they want to overly spend. Oh boy.
To continue to win for these things. And there are parts of extreme things emerging clearly on those things. And that's why I refuse to follow that, even if that is going to cost me support in parts of the base.
Do you think Harris could have gotten a deal with Hamas?
Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, you know, you brought up a good point.
You don't want to answer.
I was the only Democrat early on to give President Trump credit for the peace deal. Why wouldn't you?
Do you
I mean,
think
that's
Harris could have gotten it?
Come on, John,
well,
answer the
again,
question.
I don't know. She's not the president. But where I'm at right now,
That was a cop-out answer.
Like, ask any of the hostages or their families. They think President Trump was a hero and he deserves, you know, the kind of deal for that thing. I think that was really a remarkable development.
Do you think Harris could have got him out?
No.
Okay, Stephen A. That was
I think
blunt.
it's a silly question.
It's a what?
I think it's a silly question.
Wait.
He didn't even want to justify answering it. It is a silly question. Have you guys heard this woman talk? She can't even form a complete sentence. And she seems like she's always intoxicated, allegedly.
Do you agree that's a silly question?
That's why they're clapping. They're clapping because they.
She's incompetent.
Right here.
I think the most important point is just realizing who.
You guys really think that Putin and all these other world leaders would have respected Kamala? You guys seen her interviews. You guys seen the way she talks. There ain't no way she would have gotten any deal with anybody.
Did it, not hypothetically or anything. I'm saying it's like, here's what happened. And there are actual members of my party that have refused to even acknowledge that this was significant. You know, and that's for me, where it's like, hey, you know, our politics might be different, but this was a significant development.
Okay.
And now also it's what Israel was able to accomplish. You know, they had to neutralize Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and Iran. And also another thing, the Iranian nuclear facilities. I mean, like, I was the only Democrat that supported you have to destroy those facilities. Can you imagine if they didn't, Iran could
That should have been
acquiring
celebrated.
a nuclear bomb, you know, who knows, within the next year.
Let me say this. Out of respect to Kamala Harris, let me tell you why she deserves an explanation as to why I don't think she could have gotten it done. Because leading into the election, what was the problem? It was extreme capitulation to the progressive left, who were finding reasons.
Kamala Harris
side
don't have her own
with,
thoughts.
You know, I don't want to say
You know
side
that,
with
Stephen
Hamas.
A.
I certainly don't want to accuse them of that. But it just seemed like whatever they wanted, the left that wasn't far left
And
was
she's a
leaning
chameleon.
more left. And so because of that, why should we believe that all of a sudden she'd get into office and she'd forget what she thought got her there? That's the only reason I'm saying that. Having said that, I'd like to get back to...
Can you imagine Kamala Harris in front of Putin talking about how she cooks and what she's doing with her nieces? The same rhetoric she says over and over again when she does her interviews. Come on, man.
the the person that asked the question. And I'd like to remind them that's part of the problem, respectfully, when you're calling them pinheads and going through all of this other stuff. See, that kind of name calling feeds into things.
Yeah, but he did it in a funny way.
Let me explain what I'm, yeah, it's a funny way.
That's rich coming from Stephen A. He would call, when he's doing his shows, he would call NBA players nicknames and make fun of them all the time, disrespect them. Now it's a problem when someone cracks a joke.
Malice.
I didn't say he was malice. I didn't say there was malice. What I'm saying is that you have to take into consideration how the other side is going to react to it. When I think about the Democrats right now, you asked the question as to what change is going to take place. Will they change? Could they ever change? Well, a lot of that depends on the midterm election. If they lose the midterm election, they'll change. They got no choice if they want to have a shot in 2028. If they don't, they get blitzed like they did in 2024. Then guess what? It's going to incentivize them to change. So it all depends on the midterm election.
Did you hear what he said about the Mets? Come on, you're crucifying them. So if
I didn't crucify him. He and I just waved at each other.
No,
we ain't crucifying. The only person that's using that word is you.
If you feel that the other side, with the other team or whatever, and I want to get your opinion on this, is doing something bad for the country, then you go after them, right?
Yeah, well, it's like that's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party, and it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have.
Yeah, Mr. John Fetterman is one of the good ones on the Democratic side. He has some common sense. You know, I don't think that they truly appreciate him on the Democratic side. If they listened to him more, they would be in better shape. He should just become conservative, become Republican. But he said he don't want to do it. But let me know what you guys think, what was said during this video. If you agree with any of them, if you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I will respond to feedback. Take care. Like, subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Have a good one.